Hi guys, welcome back to Reading Psych. Thank you for tuning in to this video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my gap year experience and providing you with 3 tips that I believe are essential to having the best gap year. So let's get into it. So tip number 1, I believe, is planning for the future. What are your plans after this gap year? Are you returning to school? Are you delving deeper into the workforce, assuming that you're working during the gap year? What are your plans? So just figuring that out. As for me, during my gap year, the first half I spent working on my applications for graduate school because that was where I wanted to go after my gap year. So I worked on my applications, my personal statement, my resume, studied for my GRE, submitted my applications, talked to people, learned about different programs, did research and all of this extra stuff. I even went on YouTube. I was on YouTube researching like different schools, watching videos of day in my lives of different students, just seeing what the overall experience was going to be like in my planning. So tip number 1 is plan for the future. Tip number 2, I would say, is work on yourself. So taking a gap year involves you spending a lot of time with yourself because as for me, like, I was in school for my whole life. For as long as I know myself, I've been a student. So just having this time off, not having to worry about school, it provided me with a lot of time to get to know myself, get to know what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. It gave me the time to work on my spiritual life. So I had more time to read my word, get closer to God, pray, watch sermons. And also it was during the lockdown period, my gap year, so that gave me even more time. So spiritual development was one of the things that I worked on. And also I knew I wanted to go to graduate school, so I have my notes. That's for, if you see me looking down, that's why I'm looking. I knew I wanted to go to graduate school, so I also started preparing for that. So trying to see what organization patterns work for me, whether it was planners, virtual, physical, whatsoever the case may be, just like planning out my day, seeing how best I stick to it, seeing just which methods would be the best, so that when the time came along to enter graduate school, I had like some kind of system in place. I mean, I'm not perfect. If you watch my procrastination video, I obviously don't stick to it all the time, but it was just something to mentally prepare myself. Also, I knew that I was going to be taking research methods, so just brushing up on my statistics. I went on Khan Academy and was just practicing, working on places that I felt were weaknesses of mine that would be beneficial for me to work on before starting graduate school. And as I also mentioned, I was on YouTube a lot, seeing different things or different tips that people gave for graduate school and seeing how that applied to me and how I could work on it. And then for my final tip, I would say make memories. You have a lot of free time. You don't want to just spend this time, doing nothing. I mean, if you resting is something that's a priority to you, definitely do that. But as for me, I spent my gap year traveling a lot, as much as it was permitted. The pandemic hit and I was like, And then when outside opened again, I was outside as well, safely, of course. And I took like several trips, just making memories with my family as well, making memories with my friends, whether it was going out to eat or hosting game nights at my house or whatsoever the case may be, just making memories because I knew that starting graduate school would be very time consuming. So I just was being intentional about how I spent my time. So those are my tips for having a good gap year, or the best gap year possible. And now let's jump into the video recap of my gap year.